Здравствуйте! This video is to teach you how to write the letters of the alphabet. I'm going to start with the first 6 letters. A. This looks very similar to English, and you're going to write it pretty much the same way. B. Now you'll notice the lowercase looks just like the uppercase letter. This is true, except you make it half the size. So with uppercase, go down, across, and around. With lowercase, down, down, across, and around. So uppercase, down, across, around. Lowercase, down, across, around. V. Same way you would make this letter in English. Okay. G. This letter is fairly easy. 1 line down, 1 line across. Notice again that the lowercase is the same thing, just half the size. 1 line down, 1 line across. 1 line down, 1 line across. D. D is a much more difficult letter for people. I'm going to show you how I make this letter. You can find any way you want that effectively works for you, but for me, I try and do the box on top first. So I go up and down like that, and then I put the little bottom on. Same thing, this is the same letter, just short, like that. It's okay if it looks a little bit wonky. So again, what you want to make sure not to do, you do not want this. That is a no. And then we have yeah. This is the same as you would write it in English. The upper and lower case looks the same as in English. Nice and easy. Okay, now we're going to write the next 6 letters. We're going to start with yo. This looks very much the same as yeah, except it has the 2 dots above it. Nice and easy. For our purposes, you are always going to put these 2 dots in when you want to write a yo. It's not necessary all the time for fluent Russians, but it will be necessary for us, so you must always put these dots in. So we're going to write this exactly like we write the other one, but we put 2 dots above it. I'm sure you're used to this if you speak German. Okay, now we get to my favorite letter, J. This is always everyone's favorite. The best way to write a J, I find, is to do a backward C, a straight line down, and a forward C, and then a line across. Now notice the lowercase letter is exactly the same, just half the size. So backward C, 1 line down, forward C, across. Can do it again. Backward C, 1 line down, forward C, across. Backward C, 1 line down, forward C, across. Z. Z tends to look like the number 3, although the bottom is a little more curved, perhaps, than a 3. It's okay if you go below the line, like I did here for the lowercase, but usually you'll see it something like that. E. E is actually very easy to do, but it can certainly trip up English speakers who are used to writing an N, as this looks backwards to you. It's fairly simple though. I go down, diagonal up, down, down, diagonal up, down. Again, keep in mind that the lowercase is exactly the same as the uppercase. Oops, that one looks terrible. Sorry. Just half the size. The same thing is true with our I kratkoje, except you need the little dip up top. So watch, down, up, down, down, up, down. You want to make sure that that dip does not look like this. Okay, that is an accent mark. We don't want that here because we'll be using that to show you where to emphasize your intonation. So here again, we want down, little curve. Down, up, down, little curve. It's okay if it's a little more Czech-like than you-like, but you do need that there. It is a different letter from the letter E, so it's important that you note this. With ka, it's very easy, except keep in mind that our lowercase ka is exactly the same as the uppercase. So what we don't want for lowercase is this, which you have in English, or this. Okay, those are not correct. You want halfway, just like that. Okay, we're going to move on to our next 6 letters, starting with L. Now, in print, you will notice that L tends to look like this. I find that that is very confusing and easily confused with a P, so I do not recommend it. I recommend doing it more like what the actual cursive looks like, which is you have a little hook there, up, down, and it's more pointed on the top. Whoops, sorry about that. We'll try that again. And then same with the little one. Hook up, down, hook up, down. So it's nice and pointed there. But keep in mind, you also have this nice hook right there. That is very important, especially if your writing tends to be messy, because otherwise this little up and down, this little carrot looking thing can get confused with other letters. So you want to make sure you have that. The same thing is true with M. Although technically you can write your M's just like this. Now keep in mind, lowercase m. It should not look like that. That is incorrect. That is a cursive T in Russian, so you do not want that. Make sure your lowercase m's look just like our uppercase m's. Now for me, because I'm used to the cursive and because this can get confused also with other letters, I tend to put this hook in as well, but you do not have to. N is very easy, but remember that the lowercase is exactly the same, just halfway down. O, same thing. Pe. With pe, I find it easiest to go one line down, one over, one down. Line down, over, down. You can do it this way if you want, like the letter pi, which is where this comes from, but I find that that can get very confusing, especially if you are a messy writer. So please be careful about this and watch how you choose to do it. This is why, again, I choose to go like this. Lastly, R. Uppercase is very easy. Lowercase, you go below the line, actually. This is one of the first ones that we actually see goes below the line. Uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase. Nice and easy. Moving on to our next 6 letters, we're going to start with S. This should be very familiar to you. And again, halfway down, same letter. Te, very familiar, but keep in mind our lowercase is the same thing. So what you don't want to do is this. That is an English lowercase t, that is not Russian. Similarly, we don't do this. That is also not correct. I do not want to see those. Please make sure you are very careful with your te. with your lowercase te. Oops, I left it on red, but that's okay. Ooh. Ooh, the uppercase does not go below the line. The lowercase does go below the line. Uppercase, you come halfway down for the top part of this, and you hit the bottom line. And then for the lowercase, again, you go below the line. F, our uppercase and lowercase look the same, just half-sized. It's okay if your little line through the middle goes below the line. That is totally fine. Ha. Ha is very simple, just like that. Se. So you want to do a line down, straight across, line up, and then you add your little tail. The tail should go slightly below the line. What you don't want is this, where it's only halfway down. You also don't want this, where your tail is huge. Oops. Where your tail is huge. You don't want that either. So you need to make sure that your se goes all the way to the line, over, up, and a little loop. Lastly, you don't want that. That looks like the number 4. It's also unclear kind of what that is. It needs to be a nice little curved tail there. So again, we'll go down, up, over and up, and then a little curved tail. Moving on to our next 6 letters, we are almost finished. We have che, che. So with this, we want to do a little dip that goes about halfway down and then a line straight down. Oops, sorry, the computer's not behaving. Then with the lowercase, we start in the middle and do a little dip about halfway down, line straight down. Nice and easy. You can have it a little more curved like that if you prefer. You can have it a little less curved if you prefer. All of those are totally fine. Sha. This should not get confused with an English W. In this case, you want it to go straight down to the line, across, straight up, and then halfway up there. Oops, sorry. Same thing with the lowercase. What we do not want, we don't want this. That is no good. That is an English W. That is not a sha. You also don't want this, like in cursive English. That is also not correct. You also don't want that. None of those are sha. We need to make sure it's boxy. It comes straight down to the line in both cases. Okay, shicha, is going to look very much the same, just with that same little tail that we saw with its set. So again, we go straight down to the line, try not to go below it like that, and add a little curved tail. Same thing, but with a little curved tail. Little curved tail, little curved tail. Again, what we do not want, if I can erase this, is this. We don't want this with a line like that. That's a little too straight. We don't want this. None of those are correct. You want to keep it nice and neat, straight to the line. All right, now we have a tvoordiedsnak, or a hard sign. You will rarely, if ever, use this letter, and it never comes first in a word, so we don't need to bother with a capital letter here. We are simply going to learn it just because it's part of the alphabet, but all you need to do is that. So I do almost like the number 7 with a little musical note looking thing. Nice and easy. It is important though that you put this part on it because that's what differentiates it from the soft sign, which you will be using a lot. Okay.